Marco Pierre White has a recipe for roast chicken and it is quite frankly mad. I'm Gary from Big Spud and recently I've been reading Marco Pierre White's autobiography, The Devil in the Kitchen. It's a fairly wild, weird tale of his life leading up to the mid-2000s when it was published. It's always exciting, never boring, and there's plenty to look forward to. More on that in a minute. However, I'm reading through it and my vision is suddenly stopped by him discussing a recipe for roast chicken. In at least 1 million homes every day, a chicken is put into an oven and left to sit there for a couple of hours and removed when it's brown. He then describes, not in a true recipe style, but in prose, how he would roast a chicken. In fact, how he roasted it for Michael Caine. See another video I have for more details on that. It's all a bit mad because you sous vide for 10 minutes, brown it in a pan, and then put it in the oven for 30 minutes. And I thought, well, it's not very long in the sous vide machine to do much, and it's not very long in the oven. And I thought, well, maybe it's just some weird thing he's put into this autobiography. But no, wait there. Wild food from land and sea. Cook on the stove, roast for 15 minutes. Marco Made Easy. Roast your chicken for 40 to 50 minutes. Marco's Great British Feast. Roast for 25 minutes. Canteen Cuisine. Roast for 25 minutes. Mirabelle. Roast for 35 minutes. One of the common criticisms I've had about Marco Pierre White's recipes is there's a lack of quality control, I'm sure, where he knows what he's doing, but he cannot be bothered to put it in writing, and no one dares check his words for him. Would be my frank assumption of it.
Fine, you can go.
So there's no...
The door's over there.
No, but if...
I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to you. Because I don't like comments like that. Please be understanding. Neither do I.
Do not push me.
A couple of things I will say. He generally prefers to work with a crown, i.e. he takes off the legs and the wings and the wishbones. You're just left with a crown, just the breasts mounted to the bone. So you've got less meat to deal with, and it's well known that the thighs and the breast cook at different temperatures. He's also probably dealing with a very high quality bird. He quite often mentions, and even in this one, he mentions a poulet au bres, which is a very expensive bird. I will look up the price of those and pop that down here. If you're dealing with a higher quality bird, generally you cook it for less because there's more fat in it, less muscle, so the fat helps baste it and keep it cooking. But I'm intrigued to try this. We sous vide at 80 degrees for 10 minutes. I don't know what we're going to achieve in 10 minutes, but let's find out. First, using my trusty vacuum sealer, we need to vac pack our chicken. He gives no mention to seasoning, which is unlike him, so I'm going to throw a handful of salt and a knob of butter in there just to help things along. Here we are, I've set my machine up for 80 degrees, so we should now plop that in. And in 10 minutes we'll come back and we'll see where we are. And while we wait for that to cook, a quick note on the book itself. It's a bit mad, frankly. The section at the back as an index is basically a list of all the people he's ever met, which is quite a few. You'll go through his career, you'll go through his relationships, his haphazard approach to HR and personnel, and how he works through his restaurants, through his careers, and through his various relationships. A few pictures reproduced from White Heat, probably his magnum opus, and a few recipes like the chicken one dotted throughout. Not really recipes, but just sort of descriptions of recipes. And full of the great Marcoisms. We live in a world of refinement, not invention. He says that so much. So it's The Devil in the Kitchen. Originally, in hardback form, it was called White Slave. Yeah, thankfully they changed that one for the paperback. You can find it second-hand quite easily, and it's a fun read. You'll blast through it really quickly because it's quite breezy. Give it a try. So my time has just gone off. Chicken's had 10 minutes. Let's take a look. So 80 degrees is quite hot for sous vide. Usually, in many recipes, I'm working at the sort of 50, 60 mark. So sure enough, 10 minutes in the sous vide and we're not very far along. Now he recommends to brown on all sides, so let's go do that. So I've got a pan over a high heat. A little bit of oil, it should be butter really, but I think that's going to burn before it does anything in my case. So I'm just going to quickly fry it on all sides. I'm probably going to turn the sound off because I need to put the fan on because it's going to be really noisy. So I've browned it on all sides. There's no mention of seasoning, so I'm going to season it now over the top and then pop it in the oven for 30 minutes apparently. So see you then. So we've had 30 minutes in the oven and our chicken has had also another further 10 minutes to rest. I have given it a probe and sure enough it was at the high 60s at the thickest part, so it should be safe to eat. But how does it come out? You've certainly got a very moist bird there. Let's take a slice from the cross section. You know, there's not a hint of pink, which, got to be honest, was on my mind. Let's take a big thick wedge there. Well, it's perfect. I don't know what to say. It could do with a little more seasoning, but that's on me, and there is no mention of seasoning in the recipe whatsoever. But I'm shocked to say that really works. Yeah, really surprised. It's hard to know what the sous vide step added, but there's no denying that in 30 minutes it's completely cooked. Completely cooked, it's not a problem at all. The difficult part is that frying a whole chicken in a pan can be difficult because they can get quite heavy. You're dealing with very hot oil that spatters everywhere. So if you're okay with that stage, I have to recommend this method. It's really great. I think I'm going to shred this up and put this in a nice salad. Yeah, so I'm completely dumbfounded, but completely impressed that it's browned all over, really tasty, really juicy, no complaints. Now the sous vide stage is a bit mad, but it appears to have worked. What can I say? I guess it'd be interesting to try just browning it in a pan and then putting it in the oven to see if that just does enough work. So cooking that got me to thinking, what about if I just try the searing in a pan, followed by the quick blast in the oven? So this is exactly what I did. Took my chicken, seared it all over in a hot pan, popped it into the oven. What does it take you to roast chicken in an oven? 60 to 75 minutes? And that's brought it down to under an hour. So it's glistening, it looks juicy. It's not quite as good. It's nearly as juicy. It's not quite as crispy. I don't know why that is. I'd actually prefer to leave in that little sous vide stage based on this evidence. I need to try it further. Meanwhile, back to other Gary for a bit more of a wrap up. But I think that's a rousing success. Very interesting. I hope you found that interesting. I certainly did. If you've got friends in your life who you think also might find that interesting, do me a favour and share this link with them and see what they think. And I'll catch you next time.